So it's Monday the 17th of
June.
And 6:45 a.m. and we are on our way to the hospital for egg collection. How are you feeling about it?
It doesn't feel real still. I just can't believe that it's actually. It just feels like it's taken forever, and now it's suddenly coming too fast.
Yeah, it has been very quick this bit.
This week has just
yeah.
been. Like, we thought about it. There was a plan for it, and then suddenly it was here.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, because I think when people talk about IVF, like, oh, are you going through IVF? Well, that's the question I'm having on. Hey, are you going through IVF? And when does the IVF start? I think people think it's quite a big process, like quite a long process. In terms of like when I've actually been going through the IVF process, it's been a week.
Yeah.
And I'll get them collected today and put it back in on Friday, and that is it. So the actual like drugs and process, it takes, what was it, 25 days? She said.
Yeah.
From the start of the drugs to knowing you're pregnant or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually quite quick.
And as you've responded so well, you've not even done the full.
Yeah, that's true. So
14 days of you.
It's only day 11 for me now from the start of taking the drugs on my cycle. So yeah, you can take your trigger normally anywhere between like day 10 and day 14, whereas I took my trigger on day 9. So yeah, it's definitely, it's a bit earlier than normal. It'd be really interesting to see how many eggs they get today from what the number we saw on Friday. It'll be less, yeah, because the ones that were already developed will probably be too big for now.
Yeah.
And then obviously the ones that are too small might not have developed enough yet. So but it'll be interesting to see how many that is, and then how that decreases. So we know that it decreases at every point along the journey.
Yeah.
So however many they get today, they won't all fertilise, and of those that do fertilise, they won't all be viable. So that'll be interesting to see what I actually end up with at the end of the week when they go to transfer. I'm feeling excited. I think the thing I'm kind of not looking forward to the most today is the waiting around.
Yeah.
I'm not really that bothered about the operational procedure, I guess they call it.
Yeah.
Because I'll be out of it, so I'm not going to know what's going on. So yeah, I'm not that worried about that bit. I'm worried about the waiting around, and I guess I'm apprehensive about how I'll feel afterwards. I'm not sure what that will be like, so I don't know how much pain I'll be in or how uncomfortable it'll feel.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the unknown on that side.
Yeah, because you can't do anything, can you, for 24 hours afterwards now? You can't drive or anything, you're going to be out of it, aren't you? So.
Well, yeah. So I've got a big book, my tablet, with loads of series is downloaded, and got a new pair of slippers and a dressing gown. So we have to get there for 7:30 this morning, because the consultant has to see everybody that's going into theatre today, which is a maximum of 8 people. So he can go do the rounds and talk to everybody, I guess, do like the follow-up, pre-op.
Yeah.
Check everyone's okay to go to surgery.
Sounds like you're an early one as well, getting there so early, but who knows, it could be everyone turns up at 7:30 and then you wait all day.
No, that is what happens. Everyone turns up at 7:30.
Oh, is that?
Everyone has to turn up at 7:30.
Okay.
Because the consultant has to see everybody before he starts surgery.
And he picks the order depending on who's like super right, under right.
No, he doesn't pick the order. The order is determined by the time you took your trigger injection.
Right.
So I took my trigger injection at 11:30.
And they have to take.
And it's 36 hours exactly from 11:30. So I think that means my theatre appointment will be 11:30 this morning. Because you can take your trigger injection any time between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. 10 p.m. and 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Because the theatre appointments are any time between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So yeah, so mine was half 11, which means I think my theatre is 11:30. But because there's somebody at 10, he has to do the rounds. Everyone has to be in 7:30 so that he can go round, or she, I don't know who the consultant is. So they can go round and check everybody before they go into theatre, because then they'll be in theatre all day. So yeah, so it's going to be a lot of waiting around today. We'll get there at 7:30, what it's like, to be honest, because it's like it's not an inpatient thing, it's an outpatient thing. You know, you need to stay over. But I think there's a ward which you sit at.
Yeah, we just don't know, do we?
No.
Although we can do more videos as
Yeah, we'll do a
we
little bit of footage.
go throughout the day, just to let you know what's happening.
Yeah. So until then.
So,
Just get out.
yeah.
It's a bit woozy.
You can go around.
Mhm.
And how was it?
I don't know. Walk down from here to theatre.
Yeah.
Sat down. Be about 10 people in there. And did my gown and the other. This bed, I guess.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of being in a dentist when you had like a filling or something, you were like staring at the ceiling while people are doing stuff around you.
Yeah.
And then you just put this in. It hurt when they put this in actually.
Yeah.
But she numbed it, and then she was talking to me about numbing it after. As soon as that starts going, it should be fine. That's the last thing I read. And then I was dreaming, and I opened my eyes and I saw a nurse sat next to me. So I was just like, oh, I must just be waiting for the rest of them to get started. I was like, is it done? Yeah. Oh. Okay. It doesn't feel like tender or anything down there.
Right.
Maybe, I don't know if there's like a local anaesthetic, maybe.
I was thinking all the person that came back before said they were in pain immediately. Went back, so.
I feel a bit lightheaded now, sat up actually.
I'll let you eat your toast. Okay. It's 1:20. We went in there for 7:30. Got the bang on 7:30 pretty much. We just got out. How are you?
I'm surprisingly alright actually. Thought I'd be more aware that a procedure had happened. But I don't feel like sore or anything down there.
Yeah.
My ovaries are still aching, but they were aching before I went in.
Right.
Maybe they're a bit more tender now than they were.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is where the cannula was.
Yeah.
That's really sore.
Yeah, it just looked big and wide.
Yeah, because I went into a little vein.
Got
It's like irritating inside the vein.
There it was.
So that is really achy. But other than that, I feel alright. I feel a bit dizzy and a bit dehydrated, even though I've been drinking non-stop water since I came out of theatre.
It was boiling hot in there though, the whole time. It was absolutely boiling.
Yeah, I think it went fairly well. So we went in at 7:30 and we were waiting in like the lobby area with like half a dozen other couples. Kind of waiting and waiting, everyone's like silent. We probably got taken up about 7:45. It wasn't that long, but it felt long because we were waiting. So yeah, we all traipsed upstairs, traipsed through all the corridors, all the building work going on. It'd be lovely once it's done.
Yeah.
They all got taken in time order, so at the time when we were going to go into theatre, to the different beds. So there was 2 wards, I think, of 4 beds.
Right.
So we were in bed 4. Bed number 1 obviously was the first to go in, and then they kind of worked around that room, and then the next room was bed 5 to 8. They put us all in our beds, and then we just waited for a few different people to come and visit us. So the first people that came and visit us was the nurse, and she was doing checks, so blood pressure, oxygen levels, and heartbeat.
Oh right, yeah.
And went back through all the pre-op questions that she'd asked, because it was the same nurse that did our pre-op and teach. So she went back through everything to confirm that it was all still the same case, you know, no pre-existing medical conditions, etc.
Have you got any allergies?
Yeah, everyone asks if you've got any allergies every single time. And then after her, we got the 2 consultants, took us through, what did they ask us? What
basically talked about what they were going to do.
Yes,
They asked you that, have you got any allergies, date of birth, blah blah blah.
And theirs is more about the consent.
Exactly. Yeah, they just talked through what the operation was, how it was done, how long it would take,
any possible risks,
and
what they would have to do if that risk happened.
Exactly.
So, like, one of the things was, are you happy for us to do a laparoscopy through your belly button if we need to because we've punctured your bladder or something?
Or the liver, yeah, bladder or liver or something.
Bladder or bowel it was.
Oh, that was it. Oh gosh.
So yeah, so that was their bit, and then final person to come in was the anaesthetist.
Yeah.
She came in quite a bit later actually, after I'd already changed into my gown. She just went through same again basically, as well as sort of talking about what the sedation was going to be like. So she said it was heavy sedation, and if you opened your eyes or anything at any point, then she would
increase the dose.
Yeah, increase the dose. Interestingly, she also said, because I was like, oh, that's good, because I wasn't sure if I'd be aware. She was like, if you're asleep, and even if you are aware during it, you won't remember it afterwards.
Yeah,
because they give you a drug that's like makes you temporarily amnesia.
Yeah,
that gives you temporary amnesia.
Yeah.
So anything that you're experiencing, you don't take it in as a memory. It just happens. So I might have been aware during it, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Because then we waited around then for maybe an hour or so.
Yeah.
Not as long as I thought we were going to be waiting around. So while we were waiting, Ethan got given a letter which had the time.
I got that really early. It's one of the first things we were given. I was concerned when to give me it, and it said 9:15. I thought, well, she's not even having the thing till 10:30 or 11 or whatever it is. Isn't that too early? And then the delay, and the sperm going to die, and I just started panicking. And because the reason we're doing IVF is because of my low sperm. I felt the pressure, and it was hard to feel relaxed and perform susceptible to my own intentions. So it was really hard to do anything. So I went in at 9:15 and I probably finished at about 8:30. So it took me 15 minutes, and then it was just panic in the back of my head, because this is the reason that we're here. That what if it's not good enough? What if they don't find any? Because I have thousands every millimetre of healthy sperm rather than millions that your average person has. So the terror was real.
You're worrying.
Really worried, really. Because if there's no viable sperm, then there's no viable eggs.
Yeah.
Well, there's no viable eggs. Well, the eggs may be viable, but if the sperm aren't, then it changes everything.
Yeah.
So it was a real worry.
Yeah.
At that point of the day.
Yeah. When Ethan got back, again, we probably only waited another half an hour or so after that. And then one of the surgical nurses came in and talked to me through a little bit more about what the process was going to be. So she'd come back in 10 minutes, which she did, and then that was when she took me down. So by that point, I'm in a gown, my dressing gown, and my slippers, and I've got my inhaler with me just in case I need it. And she wheels the bed, and I just walk behind her, and we go down to theatre.
How would you say you were feeling coming up to the actual operation, and then when you were actually going, what were your thoughts and feelings then?
Yeah, I was pretty relaxed about it, and just until maybe like the last 10 minutes before, when I got a bit nervous. Mainly because I just wasn't sure how aware I was going to be of what was happening and getting it right. But yeah, I was pretty relaxed. How did I seem?
For the last 10 minutes before you went, you seemed scared.
Yeah.
Nervous. You went quiet, and you just were like, Abby usually sleeps really well, just lies in bed and she's gone like that. But the past few days you've been having to use things to distract you, which I felt like it was bubbling underneath anyway.
Yeah.
And you seemed very reliant on whatever you had to distract you.
Yeah. Whilst
waiting. So.
Yeah, well, I prefer not to think about it because I don't know what's going to happen, so I'd rather just not.
Worrying about it doesn't really help, does it?
So yeah, I was a little bit nervous when she came to get me. But then actually once I walked down the corridor and went into theatre, I didn't really feel that nervous then. am who I say I am. They all match. And yeah, my little festival wristband. So they all go like, yeah, did everyone hear that? Yep, you're happy with who this person is. And then they all go off again and do their own thing, and then it was just the kind of main nurse and the anaesthetist. So they undid my gown, got me onto the bed, and the nurse was putting like the sticky things on my chest for monitoring, and the blood pressure machine, and then the anaesthetist and another nurse was holding my hand, putting the cannula in. And yeah, it did hurt. It really hurt, the cannula.
Did it go in easy, or did they have to
It went in
force
fine, yeah, it went in fine, but it did hurt. And they put a gas mask on me, and then she started putting fluid in through the drip, she said, and that's the last I remember.
Did it have a taste at all, the gas that they put into you?
No.
Your mouth? Okay.
No, it was just oxygen.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So it was a cannula intravenous thing that they were putting all the stuff in.
Oh yeah, everything went in through the drip. Last thing I remember. And then I was having some crazy dreams, which I now don't remember. I remember I had a bit of crazy dreams, which I said was good because it means I was still a bit aware, like still a bit. Because when you dream, mostly in like your mid-range sleep, not in your deep sleep. So I was dreaming, and then I kind of just opened my eyes a little bit and saw a nurse, and I was like, oh, she's still waiting to put me to sleep.
So you thought that they hadn't started yet?
Yeah, I thought I hadn't started yet.
You were done already?
Yeah, I was done.
That's great.
I mean, it was literally, yeah, a split second, no awareness of going to sleep, no awareness. It's not like normal wake, falling asleep, where you feel like the time has passed. I don't know how that happens, but you know that time has passed when you wake up after you've been asleep. And you can kind of aware of how much time has passed in that process as well, aren't you? But yeah, this was like literally, it could have been a second later. And she gave me a drink of water. She undid took the fluid out of my cannula because they were just putting fluid in at that point. And it did kind of go over me a little bit, but I was still pretty out of it. I was pretty sleepy still then, actually.
Right.
And then got back to the ward on the bed. And yeah, then I felt pretty okay then. She came and brought me a cup of tea and some toast, some biscuits. And I ate that, and that was all fine. And just waiting then at that point for the nurses to come and do checks again and tell me about what was the next steps were. We had the embryologist come, didn't we?
Yeah. Whilst Abby was having the operation done, I did a questionnaire about male infertility, because I think that that's they're trying to sort of figure out why, what sort of a common denominators which makes someone more likely to have fertility issues than not. There's a big questionnaire about food, exercise, bad habits, good habits, everything.
So the embryologist talked us through what happens next.
When she came and said that the sperm were viable, I finally could breathe again for the first time in like a whole week or so. It was such a relief. Like the sperm is actually usable. It's not just duds, because like I was terrified it was what we talked about earlier. It's actually some viable sperm in there that hopefully will do the business.
Yeah.
Both of them working together, and that'll be amazing.
So they're getting fertilised now. Or in fact, no, they're not getting fertilised now. They are removing the like membrane from around the eggs, basically.
Yeah.
Cells from around the eggs, which is like protective, to be able to see better if the eggs are viable.
Yeah.
And then they fertilise the ones that do look viable. And then tomorrow they will call us to say how many have actually fertilised.
Yeah.
And at that point they might be able to give us some indication of whether they want to transfer day 2, day 3 or day 5. So yeah, we'll get a call from them tomorrow. Know a bit more.
Great, we'll let you know. We get the call tomorrow at what time?
Before midday.
Before midday.
Yeah.
So we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Okay.